Alright, folks, welcome back to another episode of Wicked New England.
Woo.
So, we got nothing better to do, so we're going to talk about fictitious fights and who would we think would win. Okay, so we've each picked a celebrity death match of sorts, throwback to the old cartoon off of MTV, but I think that's going to be a good idea. Just something kind of fun. Now, originally we actually had like 64 names, and then it was like 32. We had this massive bracket. We're just each going to pick a match. Because honestly, we'd be going probably for 3 hours trying to do that over a podcast episode. So we're going to simplify that a little bit. So as always, my co-hosts.
I'm Anthony.
I'm John.
They didn't forget the names, guys. We still got it.
This time.
They're not senile yet. Maybe after like a possession or something like that, we'll see. And
I'm getting up for an age. I'm starting to get that.
Actually, John, so I got a question for you, though, just to kind of start the episode. So we did get a request off of our Facebook channel for a question to ask at the beginning of our show. Sort of a competition I did. The winner gets a sticker. So I'll be mailing a sticker to Sarah because we're using your question. But what is the scariest paranormal event, if you will, that has ever happened to you personally? Or maybe not scary, but like, I don't know. If it is scary, scary. If not scary, then the most weird, I don't know. Like, what's the most, prolific, if you will, that stands out in your mind?
So, I guess one that I can't really, figure out what happened. So, when my grandmother had passed away, she lived in a house from the year 1800. That's when it was built. Now, when she passed away, we had to clean up the house and basically get any religious things out of the house to sell it. Now, what we found out was every single room had rosaries, crucifixes, at least 2 to 3 in every room.
It's a lot.
I didn't even know that my grandma was religious. So I was, wow, what's going on here? We also found on the inside of the bulkhead door in the basement, in 2 places written in red paint, I hope it was paint, die. The word die. Pretty weird. Well, so after everything was cleared out, just a little, nothing too crazy. Well, after everything was moved out, my sister and I, we had gone to the house. She got there before I did. And so when I got there, she seemed a little spooked. Now, something to know about older houses, some of them, is the drawers. They were actually in the walls. So if you opened a drawer, the whole house heard it. You wouldn't really use a bureau in the top floor. It was just in the wall. And so she had said that she heard the drawer open upstairs, but she didn't want to check it out on her own. Okay, well, I'm hanging out there with my sister, my aunt, my mom, and before we left, my sister and I were tasked to go upstairs and just do another sweep and make sure there's nothing else upstairs. And right as we're about to go up, all we hear is what sounds like the drawer open and then slam shut, as if someone was upstairs and just opened the drawer and then slamming it shut. So, of course, we both looked at each other and then, decided to do rock, paper, scissors, who's going up the stairs first. I had to go up first. When we got up there, really nothing was out of place, but that definitely freaked us out. That's about it.
Hey, weird stuff like that, you can't really explain it, but definitely enough to give you the willies anyway. I mean, especially at a younger age, right? So, so there you have it for that. That's definitely his experience. And, folks, same thing, if you want to drop a comment in on the YouTube, or you want to hook us up on the Facebook, anything like that, if we pick your question, I'll mail you a sticker from Wicked New England. It's our logo. And we'll start doing that hopefully with every episode. I'd like to get some questions from the fan base and you people that have actually been following us and stuff. So, moving on from that, let's get right into it, John. So, John actually decided to go with
Dean Martin versus Frank Sinatra.
This is an interesting battle, I'd say, right? So, I guess we're going to start with the premise that we'll assume that everybody is in their prime, we'll say, right? Because obviously certain people are dead, we might be bringing up already. So it's kind of hard for a corpse to fight. So we'll assume that they're both in the prime of their lives, if you will, and who would win in a fight. So we'll go with that. So what are you thinking?
My heart goes to Frank Sinatra. I think he would be victorious. I just think he would bring out that New York style and just take out Dean Martin. That's not amore.
Luck would be a lady tonight. No, me personally, I'm going to go with Frank too on this one. And honestly, my reasons why are kind of like physical. So he's definitely had the height advantage over Dean Martin. Dean Martin wasn't exactly a tall guy. Frank Sinatra was taller, at least from what I remember seeing in videos and stuff like that. But, and sometimes, especially in a fight, that comes into to play. The arm reach, if you will, to get that jab out before the other guy can hit you. So, that and, both were pretty connected with the mob, but I have a feeling that if it went down, Frank could make that call and somebody might come and have Dean's legs broke. I don't know. Could be wrong. But I'm going to go with Frank on this one. Anthony, what are you thinking?
Initially I was thinking probably Dean Martin. Only because he was Italian. I don't see the mob turning on their own.
But does being Italian make you tougher?
Yeah. But at the same token, they both handled themselves pretty well when drinking the whiskey and the bourbons and the scotches.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, scotch was a particular favorite choice of Dean Martin. And anybody that's actually heard him sing live knows he was heavily under the influence.
Frank was a Jack Daniels man.
Yeah, Frank was, but it's still part of the
whiskeys.
whiskeys.
We all know what Jack Daniels makes you do in large consumption. All right? At least I know that effect. Jack Daniels effect, we'll call it.
A little bit of evil tendencies.
Maybe? Oh yeah. Jack just takes it to a different place sometimes.
So I think I would actually probably go with Frank Sinatra on that one.
All right.
I think Sting might be not too straight walking at the time, so.
And in all reality, these guys probably did fight at least once in their lives. I mean, they were all part of that Rat Pack. Those guys are drinking heavy with each other. It would not surprise me at all as if, these guys had a brawl here and there, amongst the group. Just had, one too many,
Too bad they didn't have Twitter and...
Dean was supposed to pick up the tab.
Cameras everywhere.
Frank's like, son of a bitch. But, so it sounds like we're all pretty much in unison on this one anyway. So, on that, we'll move on to the next one. So we'll notch out a win in the column for Frank Sinatra. If you folks disagree, too, drop it in the comments below. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are.
And please give some reasoning, too.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe some of you were alive back then. Maybe you saw some stuff we didn't on the, like Ed Sullivan show or something like that. Make it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I missed that rerun.
Right. So, being that is primarily like a ghost hunting show, if you will, or a channel for that matter, I decided to choose two that are pretty much relevant to the topic at hand. So I'm going to go ahead and pit off against each other, Zach Baggins and Jason Hawes. So Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, all right? Now, this is a tough one, at least from my perspective. Okay, they're both pretty much in good physical shape. Okay, one upside for Jason, I would say, is he was a plumber, right? So he's got that blue collar hardened work life, right? That those guys in general are just a tougher sort of walk of life from people who don't necessarily do hard labor. But then on the other hand, Zach's got time for all that training in the gym and constant personal training and whatnot. As overall size, mass, I would say I got to give it to Zach and this one because just judging from both these guys on their Instagrams and stuff like that, Zach's a little bit bigger, a little bit more in the muscle department, but that doesn't always mean they're going to be tougher. But I don't know, Zach's got a little bit of a darkness to him too, so I'm going to go with Zach on this one personally, but it's a closer call than I thought it was going to be. I can't imagine it being one-sided. It would actually be interesting to see these two guys brawl, to be honest, because height-wise, they're pretty close. They're both pretty freaking strong looking anyway. You know what I mean? But who's a tougher fighter? I don't know. I guess I didn't really go back and see where each one of them grew up. Sometimes the tougher neighborhood. Maybe you go to the tougher spot. If one of them was in an inner city kind of area or not, I'm not sure. Jason Hawes is obviously from New England. Zach's from California, but that could mean anything.
Right.
So, but anyway, I'm gonna give it to Zach just cause, in the grand scheme of the two of them, I like Ghost Adventures more than I like Ghost Hunters. So I'm gonna go with Zach on this one. John, go ahead.
So,
Pretty sure he's going the other way.
Yeah, as a fan, I would love to choose Zach. And honestly, if he ever watches this, so sorry. I have to go the other
I got
way.
your back, bro.
Jason
I got
Hawes. I think he gets the slight advantage just from, his background as a plumber. I've met quite a few, and
He can really swing a wrench. And if
Now-
weapons came into play, though, then I'd say definitely, for sure, he'd have the upper hand.
I
man.
would say so too. But if weapons come into play, would Zach Baggins be allowed to take cursed objects?
He's got a whole cursed museum at his disposal.
If he lures him in, traps him in the haunted museum,
Hits him with that
you know,
mojo bag, and all of a sudden,
then we got some issues. But no weapons. I have to give it to Jason Hawes. He's got that blue collar background, and just I think that'll give him the edge. So now tiebreaker.
Solid justification. Okay, Anthony?
I'm going to keep it at a tiebreaker. Because how I see it going down, these guys are equally matched across the board. But
Double knockout.
They both have the same background. They're both doing these ghost hunting shows. Do you guys think that there's not one slight, slim possibility that they've pissed off one ghost that is out to get both of them? And what's the best way to get both of them at once?
True.
When they're in the same
True.
ring going against one another. So I think there's a possibility of a ghost swooping in and taking both their asses out.
All right. Now let's take it back a minute, too, though. Okay, just for the fun of this now. Going back to Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, right? So let's say the bout has to end with a knockout or a tap out. UFC-style rules in a cage. Are we still thinking Frank, or do we think Dean? And how would he win? Would he knock him out, or would he make him tap out?
I'm going Frank by TKO.
Okay.
I don't think he would get the clean knockout. I think he would get a drop, hammer fists, take him out TKO style.
Yeah. I'm going with a knockout, but I'm thinking instead of the drop down and the hammer fist, I'm thinking he's going to take Dean's face and just repeatedly smash it against the cage wall and just knock him out.
I don't think anyone's done that.
Because that's about as dirty as it gets, as you can get in the cage. It's probably just using that freaking cage to your advantage.
Which, speaking of UFC, we're filming this after 3:05. Just throwing that out there for any UFC watchers. So, if you're a fan of Drickus, congratulations. You should be happy.
He's the big fan, guys.
A little bit. I like a lot of fighters, so it was a happy and sad night.
I would like to see a New England boy do good.
Mitch, do us proud.
But back to Zach now and Jason Hawes. See, I think this is where I start to switch my mind up, where maybe I might go with Jason a little bit. I think inside the cage, Zach doesn't have as much room to run, and it becomes a little bit more close. You know what I mean? I'm going to go Jason Hawes, and I'm going to go tap out by chokehold.
I think Jason Hawes by triangle choke. I think he's just going to get on top of him, get the triangle. That's what I would say.
Because I don't think he can knock him out, but I think he could make him submit.
You know what? Fair enough.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to go on that one. How about you?
You know what? I would probably say Jason. I would probably say Jason in close quarters combat. If you're actually talking legit fighting, close quarters combat, and as far as Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, I'd probably still ride with Frank. I don't know why. Just a hunch.
Hey, you got to go with your gut.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's
He always
that's the way
seemed to
you
be
gotta
the
do it.
leader of the Rat Pack to begin with, and nobody really pisses off the leader.
You know who would probably beat them both, though? I bet you. Sammy Davis Jr.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
to do with... Listen.
He's the unspoken side of the Rat Pack, so to speak.
He was also blind in one eye.
I'm telling you, he's got that
And
chip
he
on
was
his shoulder.
shorter.
Right.
I think he had that... He probably got one too many short jokes from the guys up the ladder in the Rat Pack. He'd probably be able to take them both out.
Well, you can't really make fun of short people, just as an another UFC aside, Alexander Volkanovski, the short king of the UFC. Just throwing that out there. Former champion of the featherweight division. All right, moving on.
Moving on. Okay, Anthony. So why don't you tell us about your match?
I'm thinking keep it New England.
That's it.
Two Boston
I like the
boys that have done great for themselves. Matt Damon and versus Ben Affleck. And if I was to choose who would do good, I'm leaning more towards Matt Damon.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Ben
I
Affleck.
apologize. Hey, he's my pick. So,
Ben Affleck is a nice, great actor. He's done a lot of good films. As far as Matt Damon's go, I think maybe there might be a little bit of animosity there that Ben's always kind of taken top tier to that.
maybe.
But at the same token, Matt Damon's also a little bit shorter, and I always root for the underdog. I'm not making short jokes, but I always root for the underdog. The other factoring issue in my aspect is, for some reason, I still don't like Ben Affleck. I just don't like Ben Affleck. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I'm a Boston boy myself.
Ben, if
Boston.
you're watching this, I can maybe give you his whereabouts if you want to come down and have a conversation. All right, how do you like them apples?
We'll trade his location for an autograph.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Friends, guys. Friends.
So, my viewpoint on Ben and Matt. So I'm still gonna pick Matt, but a lot of it has to do, I think, with what I would assume would translate to fighting ability and athletic ability. So Ben, yes, he's been Batman, right? He's got the size advantage as far as the height, but I mean, come on, it's Jason Bourne. I mean, like, how many hours of like martial arts training did Matt take for those films? I mean, he would totally Jason Bourne him, right? I mean, I got to assume that's it. So I'm going Matt Damon. I'm going full on submission. I'm not even going knockout. I'm just going technical side. Like,
I want to add a match and get your opinions after we're done with this one.
I'm thinking Matt takes him down with a Kimura lock and just like right straight to the mat and just freaking rips out his freaking shoulder from the socket. I mean, that's what I'm going with.
So I'm gonna have to be the odd one out here. Ben Affleck, if you're watching this, I think you would win. Okay, I think the Batfleck would reign supreme. Okay, here's the thing.
You're gonna let that little bit of brown off your nose, John.
As soon as he got cast as Batman, he put on like 30 pounds of muscle, and then if you saw him in that bat suit, the dude tore up. I think he would go in there, clean knockout.
It's a rubber suit.
Second round, I would say about 2 minutes in. That's what I would give it.
Okay. I respectfully disagree, but
Granted, I still lost. I mean, it's 2-1. Just throwing that out there. But,
no one really loses in this. It's fictitious.
Well,
but
Matt Damon would, but
My match, guys, is not so much actual actors, but yet the roles that they played in.
Jason
Who would
Bourne
win?
and Batman.
No, Jason Bourne or John Wick.
John Wick. I give it John Wick.
I want to say it's close. I would say John Wick too, but it's very, very close by a very slim margin.
We have to assume primes, and so he's not even in his primes during the main 4 movies that are out right now.
Yes.
Which means in his prime, that was when he did the impossible
really a beast.
task.
Yeah.
You don't get to see any of that, but you
anybody who kills somebody with a sheet of paper is like,
or at a bar with a pencil,
I mean, I know John Wick, he's pulled more tools out of the crib that nobody has ever thought of before. And I know enough about it, and yet I'm probably the only one in the room that has yet to see any of the movies. So before I get any more crap from these guys, what's your take on it?
I gotta go John Wick if we're talking John Wick versus Jason Bourne. I mean, that's hands down. John spelled it out. Honestly, we're talking about primes. Yeah, because you got to assume that John Wick was even freaking tougher and faster.
Which, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if I was shot 2 times in the side and then still had, an hour left in my movie, I probably wouldn't be moving. Just throwing that out there.
Let's hope
Well,
that
it
doesn't.
depends. Of
I
the
would hope
flesh wounds, or did you hit any major arteries?
Well, in John
Because
Wick 2,
if it's a flesh wound, suck it up.
in John Wick 2, a lady comes up to him, puts the pistol right here, and just shoots right through him twice. I don't think I'd be able to just keep running and then fighting however many more people. Personally, but I mean, I haven't been in that situation, so I guess benefit of the doubt. Just kidding. That would put me out of the count. So,
Inserting a third party into this as a triangle match.
ooh, okay.
Ooh.
Okay, I would like to either. I'm trying to remember his name now. It's like anyway, the Transporter.
Jason Statham.
Jason Statham from the Transporter.
Oh.
That character.
Ooh.
That character in particular.
Ooh. Fatal 3-way?
Yeah. It gets interesting. It really does.
Yeah, it does. Jason Statham, a man of martial arts, a man of many talents.
And we're talking roles. I mean, in that movie,
And he's
stellar.
And
I mean, he took down many.
Well, just in general, he's had a fantastic
And
career.
there's been 4 Transporter movies.
Yes. Only 3 of them which he was in, though.
Yeah.
I really want to give it to John Wick. I really want to.
I want to give it to John Wick, but part of me was leaning more towards Jason.
But now you got to figure, though, he's contending with getting beat up on by Jason Bourne and Jason Statham at the same time. You know what I mean? So who's to say that while he shifts his direction of attention, he's not catching like a, you know what I mean, one to the blind side, knocking him
And
out.
if you take out John Wick, Jason Statham could probably take out Jason Bourne.
That's a big if, though.
Now,
They
one-on-one,
would have to take
I think
out.
I still got to give it to John Wick.
Of
but
course.
One-on-one,
it's-
John
it's-
Wick, yeah.
It's trickier in like a triangle like that. Like, you know, it's just like really who does it.
But if
I think
the
a little bit of luck
transporter,
comes into play.
if the transporter's in play, I'm giving it to the transporter.
I'm going to stick to my guns here. John Wick. John Wick, because I think if Transporter and Jason Bourne teamed up against John Wick, then it's a lot closer, but assuming they're all just going to be, madman brawling right in the middle, I'm giving it to John Wick. I
Okay.
have to stick with my
Okay.
guns.
Fair enough. Yeah, that was pretty close. So that's all I got for this one. Like, I don't know if you guys want to like kind of explore any other matches, but I think that's pretty much had the effect that we wanted for this
That's
conversation.
all I
here.
got.
So kind of a quick one this week, folks. Just something fun we wanted to do. So we'll definitely catch you on the next episode, like always. Hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next week. So,
Bye, guys.
Take care, guys.